Welcome to Tradespotting GME and AMC TA from a pro trader. My charts are very accurate. They are available 24/7 for free, as is my personal technical analysis on GME and AMC that I do day to day. Even while I'm off stream, my charts are available. The link is in the description. I've been doing these streams and making those charts available for months and months and months. And I'll keep doing this and the daily streams every day that the markets are open, supported by your views, likes and shares and donations. Thank you so very much. I'll never miss a single day. You might not be able to make the same commitment to me. You might be here every day before I am, and in the chat box after the stream ends. Whichever, I'll do my absolute best to help you. I used to work for investment banks. I was born to trade. The only thing that stills my mind is a chart. Why am I here and not there? I am here because everybody ought to be here. I've got a course. It's a 12-week course. The first class starts on Friday. The link is in the description. If you're one of those who asked for this, then this is for you. If you think you'd benefit from it, sign up now. It's not cheap, but neither are the lessons. I'm building an army. I call prices often, but these shows are not financial advice. Myself and all of us here need you. You're wanted, you're appreciated. No matter where you're starting, I'll help you get to where you want to go. We're all on the same journey here. Regardless of your personal wealth or individual abilities, we're all here for each other. Thanks everybody who's tuned in from the start to now. And here we are back in the charts. This is a 15-minute time frame where you can see these lows have come in. We've called them all. This one looks particularly nice. It comes right into our little orange lines, but we'll see how that went down when we go back in time, which is what we're going to do on the 15-minute time frame, not just from today, but from the 23rd of October. I have been doing well playing SPY lately, thanks to tips from you and your videos. Thank you 100 times over with a massive donation. Atachiji. Thank you so much. That's a massive donation. That's really appreciated. Thank you so much, mate. I'm glad to hear that you're doing well. And trading SPY too. Not easy. Well done, mate. Congratulations. Thanks so much. So we went back there in time to the 23rd of November, which was our most recent high. A number of things were on the cards at that time. When I say cards, I mean charts. And when I say on them, I mean fucking obvious, because we told you all about it. There was a flash on Rocky Outcrop's RO flash at 211.8. That was very likely to get filled in the not distant future. You can see these lows that we had drawn in on the charts. After this happened, we speculated there could be a failed head and shoulders and drew this one in, but we're going to go through that at the time as we price action evolves. We also had these in during all of this, and that's why Kuzma says earlier on, this is the first dip where he hasn't pooped his pants. It's because I told everybody it was happening, to my own personal expense and the cost of the channel, when we were at these highs, that we were going to be coming down here, and we're on the way. We've done a lot of it so far, but let's see how it evolved on the 15-minute time frame at full speed. Thank you so much, Atej. There, we got that close. We had a little bit of a move up afterwards. We spoke about how this potential inverted head and shoulders were good. That measured move to the top side, this one to the downside. We got it perfectly. Touched support for a while. At this point, our RSI looked like it had recovered the center line, and perhaps this was resistance. We got another flash below and we tried to go up, came down to this level of resistance, lower low in the RSI. Similar trying up again, failing at the bullish control zone here in RSI, which was when we most recently tried to the top side. Measured move off the bottom of that, failure. Continuation of this linear move down. Trend negative, still in ascendancy on the 15 minutes since that recent drop, and you can see that touch there at the top bottom side of the bullish control zone. The potential for moves up here are stronger than they were at this point in time, because now we have a more recent low on price action below a very interesting level of support where we don't have the same signature on our momentum indicator. And as you'll understand, or if you don't, definitely check out that course in the description. Momentum changes ahead of the trend, ahead of the price, and ahead of the fundamental thesis, because a momentum is a measurement of the rate of change. And if that momentum is slowing down, then the rate and pace of that change is slowing down. And that has to happen before that price turns around. So in that sense, momentum gives you an indication of what might come next. And there is no better momentum indicator than Rocky Outcrop's DMI, other than the upgraded version that gives you the flash on price action. And it talks to you about how that downtrend is now potentially coming in for a test. The strength on it is quite high, so you can't put too much emphasis on it yet. And it does give you a little bit of pause for thought, because previous to having built in this indicator's lessons, you might have gone simply on the RSI. This one again is one improved by Rocky Outcrop, and you can see here you've got above your bearish control zone, you've put in the bullish divergence, and you've captured your own moving average. But the levels with these bullish and bearish control zones are put in here, and the addition of that moving average actually tend to show you that while you've touched above your support, your previous touched about the level where you broke down in price action at one part of this move, at the same point, you never managed to make it back above there when you hit that level of resistance. You also touched the center line on your RSI, and the momentum couldn't get back above the 50% line. And how's it going, Taint True? And so, as you see, yo, Bruley legend, how are you all doing? So, where was I? Yeah, so, thanks for bearing with me. The RSI would have given you a good potential entry at this point, although I would caution against that for the end of this move, because although you haven't yet seen as well as not having seen the trend change on this small time frame, even since our most recent breakdown, as indicated by this Rocky Outcrop's DMI. On top of that, you failed to take out these top levels, and this move could continue on downwards. And you would, in strong trending moves at periods of inflection points, often expect to see periods of divergence. And so while this might seem exciting and interesting, and people might think, hey, this is a buy, what I'm saying, free play 775, is people will be looking at this time frame at this moment in time, and having looked at this low and seen this bullish divergence and see it's recovered its own moving average, it's made its way out of the bullish bearish control zone, they might think this is the low and a brilliant buy. And I'm not saying it isn't, and that 177 in there, fantastic, right? We put that line in there for a reason. It is also potentially that prices come back down to this level at 169 to 171, that being a liquidity zone, which is interesting, because if you get to the hourly chart, which is significant, you stretch prices out here, free play, and you see that there's been a gap left on the chart on a significant enough time frame that it would be providing some magnetism with regards to price action. So that is what I am saying. If you don't understand beyond that, feel free to ask. Badman Majama 618, why do my stocks have all the same look? AHT, KPLT, Gevo, MXT, lol. Let me have a quick look at some of them for you. Don't have my pen. There it is. Let's have a quick look at AHT, KPLT, Gevo, METX. And lol. Just making a funny. I'll still have a quick look at them. Appreciate you, Tainted True. Don't want to miss anything. Yo, Chris. How you doing? Carmen. Where are you at, Chris Sweeney? I was trying to send you a DM, Chris Sweeney, earlier, but I couldn't find the Twitter conversation. Twitter's so busy. I've got back to thousands and thousands of Twitter DMs, so I lose messages every so often. Oh my God. Thank you, Jamie. You're very welcome. Felt lighter, given the fact that I've lost my head yesterday. Yeah, not so bad. You'll be losing what's left of it at the end of the day. But now I feel great. A bit slimy, but motivated. Nice to hear, buddy. UVXY. Carmen, you want to hear some UVXY? Okay. Well, there's some. I could happily look at others, but there's 5. Five for my friends. Hi, friends. It's been a while. Miss everyone. Hey, Drusel. Hey, KT. Everybody. Kim. Good to see you all. Right. So we were talking about this. We were talking about on this time frame now, the hourly. We're talking about that GARP, Bad Mudda, as to explain it, free play. His name I recognise. Hey, Jamie. Could 171 coincide with the usual post-earning dips on the 9th of December? Or is that too close to the fib time zone to still be in a downtown trend by then? Well, it's not that these things are the boom. There go those charts. Brad, you legend. Thanks very much for the donation, Brad. The Fibonacci time zone will represent a phase change after which you can expect macro levels to potentially change. You can see on this particular Fibonacci time zone going in on this time frame behind me, which may or I don't think is the specific one that I talk about with regards to price action overall. Certainly not the most dominant one from the lows to the highs that I've drawn in a number of times. Anyway, the point being, when you go through these Fibonacci time zones, you look to macro phase changes and breaking overall support and resistance and talk about new things on the cards, especially when you complete the entirety of that Fibonacci sequence, which is what's coming up on that second to third week of December. So around the 9th will be interesting. And what we could expect to happen is that perhaps that you find macro lows around those at those times. And so, no, it doesn't coincide in a bad way. It's perhaps confluence. And if it gives people a reason to buy, or subsequently that low afterwards becomes the ultimate low, then you'd look back on it and think, that phase change at that point was signifying that prices were then going to move up afterwards from that low, which might be, say, for example, because it's going across the whole of the year, that Fibonacci that we're talking about, the horizontal one. There's auto being really awkward for absolutely no read there. And on this weekly time frame, you might see, like, after that phase change, like I could just draw on here, but after this phase change, it also comes around the apex of this formation, or at least 75% of the way through it, and the 2618 on this particular zone. It may well be that then you look to these areas, which we've already marked in as lows, and say, these whole moves now, this whole period of price action and this formation in this range, is then the end, right? It might be the end, and you'd look to these previous highs to see, once you break above them, do they form then the new lows within that phase, which may well be the case. Turd Ferguson, new member. Wow, appreciate it. No, wait a minute. It's zero's hour. It's the 0 hour. So we've got the anniversaries from people who signed up. So we'll be getting a number of them. Thank you so much. Turd Ferguson, deep freaking abundance. Thanks for the busy 8 video yesterday, Tradespotting. I love getting tomorrow's news today. Yeah, quite good. Well, I mean, let's be honest, we've been given this news for quite a while now. Anthony Ellis, also, thank you so much. Happy anniversary. So, I mean, we've been talking about this price action. I think this chart, and it does a good job of explaining things. Gulliz Daisy, happy anniversary. You get the impression that Jamie's TA is really good when you look at this chart. We define all potential outcomes with regards to patterns that might be being traded. We also manage expectations to the top side. Should we go there, well, everyone would be getting excited. And this upward sloping demand line, which has been here for I don't know how many months, is still proven to be true. Nanotechie, hey, how you doing? I am well, thanks. What's up, man? Greeting from Sweden. Hello, Sweden. Thanks, Desi. Give me yo, Chris. Hell no. Smack the shit out of that like button. Yes, treat it however you feel. Moped Monkey. I'm missing anniversaries here. Well, I appreciate you all. Terran for Hire, is that sci-fi reference? Terran. Adam Norrell. Cheers, Adam. Right, so this is what you're looking at here, and you're like, wow, potential moves to the top side that are like, here's the first touch of that top upward sloping channel idea that we're talking about. Beyond that, there are horizontals to pay attention to. Does that mean that price action doesn't get here until such times as this diagonal reaches the horizontal? Well, not necessarily, nor does this apex of this formation determine everything about the time zone. 75% of things is plenty. Wicks above and body closes below. that sort of thing might happen, and you're on a weekly time frame there, so you could be up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then make it still back down Thursday, Friday, just as people said. It's not possible that GME will go below $220, right? This is a conversation people had, and I didn't have it, but they were tagging me on Twitter. It's not possible it'll go below 220 when it was at 228. It was after I had said, you know, it's going to go up to 255, and then it's going to go down to 170. Yo, Nacho. And so it proceeded to go to 255, at which point people told me there was no way it would ever go below 200 again. That was that. And I was still said, you know, sure, but no, it looks like it's going there. Anyway, I'm talking about that again. Yes, so people were saying up at these levels it'll never go back down, and here we are back down. And when we're here, there's people that are now losing out, right? Who bought it at some point during this, or perhaps ages ago, who turn into paper hands and worry, and their anxiety gets the better of them, and they end up selling at lows here. And look, like, price will just continue through this formation that it's been in for a while. People think, well, is that what, you know, counterproductive to what a YouTube channel could be doing with regards to statistics and all? I could be screaming all about, like, wow, I fucking can't believe it. We're going to go back to $300, guys. We're going there, guys. Can't fucking believe it. $300. And when we fucking get there, I'll probably greet my eyes out. But that is not what we should be talking about right now, because we're responsible, sensible adults that are trying to change the world, not just buy something and get rich and be like, oh, look, we're so smart. It's more about like being responsible, you know, to our own selves, our portfolios, and all of those people are responsible. We're responsible for in life. So this is why these drawings, lines that sometimes will feel complicated. I'm sure perhaps Freeplay or other people ask, what's this guy saying? Maybe look at this and wonder what's going on. For you guys, like, I'll always be here. I'll do these live streams every day. I'll try and help level everybody up and fill every little gap in anybody's knowledge. Though there is a course there linked in the description that'll get you that area and that place much quicker. Jamie, straight nail is TA for us today. Thanks, Stephen Urkel. Yeah, so there's the daily time frame. There's a number of places to look for. They drop that back down again now to the 4 hour. Not sure if we've done TA like this today yet. Don't think so. You're slipping into the bearish control zone here, below your own moving average on the RSI, and the negative trend is in ascendancy, reaching important levels, and it's supported by an upward slope on the ADX. That's not great, right? Hourly, perhaps trying to get back out of this area. Not yet done it, though. You have got bullish divergence on the lower time frame, so if you can push up, you'll break this horizontal and you'll go up and you'll test these levels at $198, $200 again. And when you get there, we'll see what happens. You could easily go beyond it to 210, 211, and I'd say like around 208 to 213 at the minute. That would be like a medium term high, where if price action got there and no further, wouldn't be very exciting. If we take on a Fibonacci, which we've already got, you know, the same one, goes down from this high, and this is how you draw a Fibonacci sequence. You draw it from highs to lows or lows to highs, and you follow the trend and you go from left to right. So if it's a high to a low, you follow that trend by going down from the high to the low. You go left to right, and then you get your Fibonacci sequence and you drop it on there. I've already got one, so you don't need it. And that's this background grayness that you can see here. Make it slightly brighter for everybody. Nope, that's the actual background. We don't want that on again. One color, where are you? Here. Make this brighter. And what you'd need to see is, like, if you got to these areas, price would only be retracing to the 50% line, right? 50% of a retracement against the direction you previously came from, and following along with Dow Theory, that wouldn't be enough to break the preceding trend. As such, you would anticipate continuation if it didn't get above there. And the truth is that with GME and plenty of assets, but very much so in the middle of a trend, GME loves to go when it holds the 236, which is this level at 191 to 192, spot 32 or 50, right? It doesn't matter, it's pennies. If it does get there and hold there, it likely does push up beyond the 50% to the golden pocket. And Dow himself would have also added on the theories of thirds and say, yo, wrote an order stinking colon. 1999, frickin' hell, wow. Thank you for being so generous, buddy. Thanks. No message, just appreciation. Love you, man. Thanks. Live you a long time. So the 618, you likely push up towards that area if you hold the 236. So I think it's positive, right? So wouldn't necessarily stop at 211 to 213, but there are important aspects to it. Keep it up, Jamie. Is it essential to be present live at the classes? I'm a busy ape with commitments and little humans to feed. Really want to join. No. It's not live in that sense. The coaching aspect to the initial cohort, the people who sign up and join before Friday. Bing, bing, bong. Thank you, Dane Drew. Right click on the price scale, price chart only, auto tomato will be significantly less stupid after that. Sweet. Right click on the price scale price only. Or maybe that does help. We shall see. I could have possibly done it wrong, in which case I'll come back to it. Thank you so much, Dane Drew. Really appreciate it. Thanks. Keep up, Jamie. It's essential. No, you don't have to be live. But the first cohort of people who take the course will sign up by this Friday. They'll get an element of coaching, which is live, though that comes at a time when further into it, when you've got concepts or haven't done, and I can help fill in the gaps and level you up and make sure you're at the right, understand things enough to proceed. At which point, those times will work around yourselves and will be easily accessible and available. Don't worry about that. But you don't have to start it. You won't be necessarily doing it at exactly the same moment as everybody else. Right, so, but there is a huge advantage to being in that first cohort, regardless of the moment and seconds you take the course. Obviously, you can go through it at a pace that suits you to an extent, but I don't believe that everybody can learn the lessons that quickly. So, and it is intense to a certain degree. Well, it's built up from people who have no idea what a chart is to take you from like zero to hero. In doing so, those people who already know something and want to become a better trader also find value in it. There will be a lot of lessons though, so you're not going to necessarily be able to get through everything in a week, even though that's the idea, and there isn't like scope for you guys skipping ahead, right? There just isn't. You have to do the stuff properly. It comes with assignments, it comes with work. That work takes time. It's based over a period of days. It's helping you learn and understand trend. For example, that part of the course, you can't skip it if you wanted to, right? Time doesn't move faster. And so it's paced around what we think would be a good structure, a good pace, and like from my own experience and that of interacting with people so far, it's put across at the level I think will be good for everybody. I'm scared of the course, but tempted but scared. Don't be scared. The initial rolling into things is designed to make it easy for everybody, and a lot of the hardest part of the course was making that true, so that the first opening the door, walking into this new castle. Look at the way the RSI goes above my head like that. That's nice. Would also be something that you find to be enjoyable rather than intimidating, right? You're going to be boiled like a frog that doesn't even notice it. And as the things get harder, you won't necessarily spot that because your skills will be increasing faster. That's the way it was made. Anyway, I hope that answers the question. I think it probably does. We were talking about price action. We're down to the 1 hour. We're saying that potentially the RSI could break out of this bearish control zone, come above this previous level of support on the 1 hour time frame there. Towards the end of the day, you did then put in this gap. So no, it isn't a gap. You've got a wick to the left there. If you do start opening down below 181, price closed at 17984. We're on the 1 hour time frame, and we've gone all the way through time. There's nothing left. What's up with this candle here? 18401. Have I got extended hours on? Yes, I do. Regular hours there. Better. Okay, so you have the hourly candles coming in. This bottom one being a doji. That's relevant to with regards to price action. Should we start opening and closing 4 hours when markets are open above 182 and change, then we could push up, test that 236 at 193. If you open and close above there, we will go back up to at least 50%. I suggest maybe even the golden pocket. If we don't and we fail somewhere around this 382, failing to break this previous high here, then, I mean, this is like how I speak to the trend change and draw on the support and resistance, which I find to be relevant, and then talk about the Fibonacci sequence within that move. It's still that there are others, and the 786 and 886 levels are very important. Here would be from this breakdown area. You can see 786 comes in here around that 382 of the greater Fibonacci. If you don't get above that, that speaks to the fact that this is a failed recovery, and that's how another tip about Fibonacci retracements and how to measure the strength of such moves. So 786, 886, and they're confluent with the 382, which would be disaster, continuation, lower high, further continuation expected to the downside beyond it with a lower low, which would be around, you know, potentially 178. I suspect it would be sucked down to 171 to those zones. 174, 177 was its low of today, so there's people close there. It's close enough, near enough. Well, the man and woman who realizes that close enough is near enough will always have enough. And there is no need to be greedy, especially if you're a good trader. There's no need for it if you're good at it, is there? So then down to the 15 minutes here, where we finished up the daily time frame, talking about this bullish divergence, having recovered above the center line here. Sorry, the bearish control zone and your own moving average. But at the same time, you've still got the strength of trend that ADX represents, that strength hasn't stopped. The higher lows on the DI minus suggest that there's no real bearish divergence. And despite the fact that you've got a potential area for prices to start moving up again, it doesn't look like this is going to be enough to break the strength of trend based on that. If we're on the 30 minutes, you can see that cross, which came with confluent with an upturn in the ADX, suggests those moves were going to happen at that point. You got an indication of it. That's just further confirmation of this negative trend being in the ascendancy since the 23rd of November, which is when this leg of price action started moving to the downside. And there's an indicator that's been right every single day and even giving you the drops down. Rocky, you're an unbelievable legend. So nobody else does stuff like this. Nobody else offers their charts and their personal tee up for free 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Nobody like Rocky goes out of their way to make indicators better for you so that they'll help you on the assets you trade the way that you trade them. And very few people know the future of price action. But some people have got a good picture of it. And they can even talk about the measured moves to the top side. They can talk about what's likely to happen when we do get those bounces, where they might take us to. And you can see there a period of confluence again, with this being a downward sloping wedge. Let's turn these lines on a little bit brighter so that you can see them. It's a bullish accumulation pattern, so we'll make it green. And because we're talking about it right now, I'll make it really obvious at 4 pixels wide. And a straight line. So you can see this falling wedge. It's a bullish accumulation pattern. And the measured move is from the first touch of the top side to the first touch of the bottom side. That range at the breakout point, should it be at this low that we predicted weeks and weeks ago, will also give us the measured move up to the 618, or the 50% here. It will be the 618 if this low does come in on that Fibonacci. You know, this would then be a speculative Fibonacci, and so bear with me. There's your 236. There's the 50% line. Your measured move takes you up towards the golden pocket, and that's the sort of move you'd be doing. You know, you'd be filling in these moves that we talked about, doing good TA, mostly using price action, exclusively just price action, and then building in momentum, building in trend indicators, talking about the psychology of the market participants, because that's what that pattern is doing. It's defining that psychology, and then talking about the likely measured move, and that's the self-fulfilling prophecy of this type of technical analysis. When things become obvious to everybody, you want to be the guy that's sitting in the corner and is underappreciated for having called price action weeks or months ago. And if by the time it happens, everybody's even forgot you've said it, although that doesn't fill your ego and make you feel fantastic, it's not what you did it for in the first place. It's not why you care. And you're, again, weeks along now. You're weeks along. And when they're all panicking, feeling anxious and selling at a low, you had anticipated it weeks ago. And by the time you reach it, you're weeks ahead again. And so these are the potential moves. You managed to hold that 50%. You managed to then take it on to the golden pocket, go above there, break the 786 as we talked about, the recovery move. Then you're breaking this overall structure by aiming for around 255, 256 again. You're going to get in a further higher high than this area here. The body close, body close, higher closes up here. And you're going to look to this and think, well, this area, it's higher than these previous lows. Subsequent to that, we got these higher highs. And with that preceding us now, do we then look to continue that with another higher low and then a subsequent higher high? And where would it be if you broke all of these moves? You took out these Fibonacci levels, you broke your support and resistance, you got everything you wanted from your pattern, and you went across the Fibonacci levels that are important. Then there are various levels where you'll find congestion and price action. That goes all the way up to 256. First little bit of a pause at 247, another look at 235, again at 229, down at 222, and in that golden pocket zone. Those are all areas where you're likely to find congestion. And then the extension from this Fibonacci and the move to around $300 likely looks to touch 324 on the way up to the top side, and you could just drop that horizontal in there now. And when it happens, again, you'll be in that room with a million other voices all screaming all the time, incoherently, mostly rationalizing emotional decisions, and you will not care because you'll be weeks and weeks ahead. That's the GME TA. Let's drop now onto AMC. I got eight offensive, personally abusive direct messages in my Twitter yesterday after I uploaded a very quick and helpful video directing people to this zone on price action for AMC. Look at the daily time frame. You can see your previous low came in at a horizontal support we had already identified, which got me its own abusive messages. But previous to that, there was another area we said that won't be the bottom, but we're going there, and that got me abusive messages. But never in such a short period of time did I get 8 that were such full of such vitriol. And it's a testament to how toxic the AMC community is that I got all of those messages about AMC, despite also talking about down moves on GME, and everybody that was talking about GME in reference to my name was saying how they felt calm, how they were buying more of it, and how they appreciated the content I put out there. But I get desperately personally abusive messages from total losers about it, and it's a shame on them, right? It's a shame on them. The reason it happens is because those gatekeepers of the AMC community steal my catchphrases, trades, steal my TA, Andrew Mulmoney, use all of my successful videos and emotional points, Matt Kors, and they take my content and they do not give me a breath of oxygen. And as such, I'm pillared and pushed around by a bunch of fucking idiots when all I ever did was help people for free. It's a disgrace, and it's a fucking shame that should be hung on all of those gatekeepers, and it's bad for AMC. It's bad for AMC. And shame on those people who do it, because there's plenty of good people in AMC who tune in here, literally thousands of them every week, for honest answers. And if it doesn't stop, right, I don't read the messages, I don't care about the people, I don't even care enough to block them, but if it doesn't stop because somebody out there who has reach and cares about AMC, and it could be you, Matt, it could be you, Trey, it could be any of the other people that I've ever mentioned, if you don't reach a hand out to Tradespotting, I will stop doing what I'm doing. I will stop doing it. Because it is not worth it. I do it for free anyway, so there's zero there. So if somebody, one of those people, and they all know who I am, and if they don't do it soon, it's your loss. It is, because of the toxic community that you yourselves can't control, right? And that is a shame. That is a shame on that fucking ticker when you're trying to involve people and help towards a positive movement to change the world and people's lives. Turns out most of them would rather look at stupid ass shit. and talk crap to each other, right? So you hit your 1618 extension down there. It's lower than your A point when you look left. We're on the daily time frame and you're thinking, what's this going to be? You know, let's speak to the overall formation on the chart. What's going on? Well, you come from down here. That itself was a pennant with a top side move. We got through, blue sky breakout, went to all-time highs and went to those areas that we said would be a local top. At that point, we came in for put in a higher low, which is demarked by this A point. Kuzma, well said. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate everybody who helps me put the message out there. I ignored your advice last week, which is why I'm here this week. No room for hate. Yo, Declan Waters, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Declan. No room for hate, not at all. Lou is a Street Fighter. That's nice, yeah. I will fuck anybody up! Anybody! Not just with my ability, but with the fucking truth. So don't come at me with anybody's got these skills, that skill, some bollocks. They've got fuck all on Tradespotting. That's why they lift my fucking content week by week. No room for hate, but I will add that you talk about a street fighting man. Give me fucking shelter. So this A point, right? We've come in, we've got a lower touch here, we've got 618. And what does that speak to? Well, it speaks to the macro TA that I've been talking about since we've been here. The only trouble with it is that it's so extended, this potential bull flag, right? Lower highs, lower lows on the end of a massive pull. Ex-AMC ape here. I moved to GME because it turned into a circus. Appreciate everything you do and for putting up with that nonsense. Thank you. No problem, Chris. You're totally welcome. And so is everybody else in here that actually trades AMC or buys it and holds it and appreciates the content. You're so very, very, very welcome. You do make it so, so worth it to me because that's the interaction that I most appreciate. Thanks for everyone who's like that. And thanks, Chris, for that nice message. Tradespotting, nothing but love for you, bro. Everyone else is a fucking fiend. Dirty J's, it's pretty much right now. Like, there are the odd dude that's not, like, and you'll have seen them on this channel, and I wax lyrical about them. They're all fucking brilliant. Right, you got that 1618, you're lower than the A, you're talking about this potential bull flag, and you're saying, but what's the danger with that? Well, the danger with this is the retracement that it makes against the previous pull, and when you come in and then decide that there might have been a failure, where do you want to take this extension from? I would say this previous low here would be a good area to do it from, to get it onto the charts better now. Can you please give me my Fibonacci sequence? I'm asking nicely now. Take it into the high, and you can see, oh, I'm doing it the wrong way. There's your two. I'm reading the wrong one, that's all it is. Oh, no, it's not dropping it anymore. Pardon me. There's the low, there's the high. And I'll move this one out of the way for now. Here's your 236, right? You would expect to go below that on a bull flag. The thing is, you don't really don't want to get below this 50% line. That comes in at around $20.82. Does that speak to that being a low? Well, you look to the right, it's the 2414, 2618. Anything beyond that is very, 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 very strong move. So you really don't want it dropping below there for that reason as well. And those two things speak to the fact that that might be an area where lots of people will buy it and shorts would close their positions. So might be a really good value entry. I'm not now speaking negatively about AMC. I'm talking about worst case scenarios and still looking to huge moves to the top side, because after a while, there will be new artifacts and technical entities on the charts which will present more compelling thesis than it's going to fucking explode, and you'll have to address those areas on the charts before you can start making any sort of robust technical predictions to the top side. And that is how you deliver responsible information to fully grown adults who are trying to change the world, is by delivering the logical breakdown of the charts, as I've done for you here. So I've played a song at the start of this video, which I'll have to take out when it subsequently get a copyright notification, which will end up removing the chat. So I'll read it beforehand here, before that happens, so that I've not missed any messages. But subsequent to that, everything that you guys have said will be missed. So thanks, I appreciate it. And I also understand the moment of contribution when you know that it isn't an evergreen effort, or an evergreen return, whether or not the effort was legit or not. So thanks, I appreciate you all, every message, every one of you. So you're looking at this and you're thinking that's a really interesting area. If it does bounce there, there's still potential for it to go crazy. And when I say crazy, I mean from that stage you'll be looking up. Those are all the mini levels at 38, at 39 and change, at 41.14, at 44.14, up at $50, at $55, and then above $55 you're looking straight up to 68, 72, and from 72 the next jump is up to 82, and from 82 you're looking to 97, and if you get above 97 it'll go 107, 137, and then you can maybe talk about crazy as fuck things. But that's the way it works. In advance of that, and down at these levels, you might just simplify it and say, well, we're looking at 50 to 55. That's a liquidity zone. Break above there, we're going back to test their all-time highs. And you would have that sort of simpler, more concise talk about what's potentially coming if we do move back to the top again. But while that would conform to the pattern that you've drawn on the chart here, that particular pattern in this particular circumstance with that extent of a retrace would to a degree compromise the benefit of this pattern analysis, in that the market psychology would have other factors to consider, and those implications would be the extent of that retrace against the positive move to see whether or not it was still legit, and you'd have come back towards the 50%. And at that point, any further than it, Dow Theory would say the trend has changed, and like refer back to what we talked about when we were doing the GME TA on Fibonacci levels and saying where would we not like to see it go beyond because that would be like bad, or where would we like to see it push beyond because that would be significant. And you'll remember that 50% was important, and it wasn't just us. Dow talked about it as well. He was quite well known for this kind of thing, made quite a few bob off it too, though there are those who'll tell you technical analysis doesn't work. Then beyond that, you're looking at the 618. That's the full extension here that I would even bother putting on. As you can see, I do my own Fibonacci. I just decide what levels go in my Fibonacci's, right? Not some default option, right? And it's at 1.414 and 3618. Those levels in the high teens again. Do I expect it to get there? At this stage, no, and it would be foolish to say it is going there, right? Because at any stage, this is going to start putting in a low and revert back to the top side. The extension on this move already is quite significant down at the 1618. This is where you might anticipate there being a bounce. Should it go a little bit lower? That's understandable. There's a wick low here at 24.38. Might it push down to there? Other than that, you're then looking down at 21.24. But it might turn around here. It's already put in a little bit of a wick on the lower side of things. That daily candle is like huge, but then, and bad. But on the 1 hour there, you've already closed that wick, put in a top side move. That's above the center of the previous candle there. So you probably wouldn't define that as an inside bar, which is a candlestick pattern, which would suggest continuation. You've also got a wick low at this area down to the 30-minute time frame. That's more of that you can't possibly call that an inside bar. You wouldn't look for continuation off the back of that. You can see now potentially you've also got, unfortunately, not a significant doji, which you would have liked to have seen at this area. And on the 15-minute time frame, you did close within the top side, open and close within the top side of that previous candle body. So you can't quite call it an abandoned baby or a shooting star, though that's not all there is to speak about. Should you be on this 4 hours and talking about that, you'd say that that's a good retracement on this move. More than 50% of this 4-hour candle ended up being wick, in that this was seen to be opportunity, and it even took it above this 1414 extension on the Fibonacci that we were talking about just there now. So there is like signs that perhaps you have got a little bit of buying activity this area. You're also now on that 4 hour hitting the very bottom of that bearish control zone. And if you look left on the RSI, that place I'm talking about, you've had a very significant bounce there. You did go on to put in a further low on the chart, though that was very much on the price action, though it was very much bullishly divergent at that stage. And that could be what you see happen again here, that this RSI does not get any lower than it currently is. but price action in that initial exuberance and in this bullish wick and in the potential candlestick patterns that aren't themselves bullish but do countermand the negative thesis to the downside, you would say perhaps that enthusiasm enough to take you up to this 236 at 34.88, at which point it fails, or this previous horizontal at 32.48 and it fails. You get that bullish divergence on a lower move down. You get those even better entries. And then when prices go back up to $72 and you've not spent anything buying this since it was there and got in, say now, or maybe even, 31 and whatever, up those areas aren't all that bad, right? I do expect it to get up higher than that anyway, and people get whatever, right? That all to be positive trades at the end of the day. But if you did, right, and you kept your gunpowder dry, or at least a significant chunk of it, and you were determined to invest in this anyway, then you've been following along with these videos, and instead of sending me abusive messages on Twitter, you've just said, there's somebody with a different opinion to me. And then perhaps, should that opinion start to have improved and got slightly more closer to what actually happened, then you could have adjusted your own thesis to be more in line with it. But there's so many obstinate, ignorant fannies who are so egotistical and actually just they're just the end of a knob, and all they can do is talk shit. Those people, they spent all their wages every week at 70, 68, 62, 58, 52, constantly buying it at prices when it was only ever in a downtrend, only ever making lower highs and lower lows. And those people could have, those people could have just taken a little bit of advice from somebody who was a real human being who genuinely cared to help them in the first instance, but they didn't. I know. And don't let that be a mistake you make in life, right? Don't, even if you didn't make it there, we all probably do in some ways, and I'm sure I have loads of ways, right? And so I can't say that I haven't made mistakes myself. That's not true. But some people, right, they cut off their own nose to spite their face, and they go a lot further than that. They'll chop off their own fucking head. Anyway, right, so let's just come here. Let me chop off your head, right? My sword never dries anyway. Whatever happens here, I am not selling. Whatever happens, I'm maybe never selling my GME ever. That's the plan. Pam being nice to everybody as usual. You're a blessing. Whoa, big donation, $10. Space banana. I fucking love you, man. Hey, Jamie. Listen in when I can. Just want to say you are appreciated more than we can express. Haven't been able to watch the charts much, but Zen AF, thank you. I know you've got a lot of responsibilities and you're taking a serious self-agenda to learn, and you're a really mature, sensible, excellent person to have here, and to knowing I'm speaking to people like yourself make the whole thing worthwhile. Thank you very much, Space Banana. And nice message and donation, really appreciate it. Justin, Tradespotting, being an AMC got me here. Cool. I'm so thankful for the journey, but I am embarrassed by what's gone down in the AMC community. I'm with Adam Aron over the past few weeks. Thank you. You try to shake off the embarrassment other people give you. It's tough, eh? It's tough. No need for it. Yeah, I mean, I reached out to Adam Aron plenty of times when he on his spree. I believe in apes. I'm following apes. I reached out to him plenty of times with legit questions that he didn't have to answer, but just to demonstrate that I was interested, cared, and I was there. And he was following people left, right, and centre. And I was tweeting at him like, "Look, follow me, and I'll help." He ignores me. He literally was it straight up. So. And then there's the others that are like, I haven't seen you or heard about you because I don't watch AMC or GME, other GME content. And you're like, that's interesting because you seem to have heard of all of these other AMC GME YouTubers and have them on your shows and stuff and that. Whereas you're gatekeeping, not just me, but like a huge cohort of some of the most serious people in these fucking assets, right? We're here every fucking day and we know the reasons to be here. And many of us, if not worked in the industry, have been doing this kind of thing for years, right? And we don't hang around in other places. So, and we'll need an invite. Jamie, you are more natural Zen. Thank you very much. Yes, Zen, nice. Zen, I think that I like most the concept of Taoism, and not specifically that of using your enemy's energy against them, because, yeah, sure, I'll use that in everybody's energy that's going, but more the concept of the one that completes the whole, and the whole that gives significance to the one. And the interests of each is the good of the all. And that is the whole of the law. And how that doesn't rise fucking bodies from the grave, how that sentence doesn't send fucking thousands of us over the walls, I do not know. I do not. Right, just. Hey, so some people. Hey, what the fuck? Right, so anyway, also there's things you need to be aware of, right? It has this bearish harmonic perhaps failed. I'd say likely, yeah. It was very speculative at the time. You can't trade harmonic patterns between A's and B's, between C's and D's with any degree of robust effectiveness. You can't go only on this. You need to build in a confluence and do proper technical analysis. And then at that stage, you'd be watching price action move towards the D point. At that D point, then you'd talk about taking harmonic trades based on how price action behaved in and around the PRZ. And you would look specifically for terminal candles. And so you can see I'm about 8 steps away from ever using that formation in order to take a trade. It's in order to manage people's expectations and look for areas of harmonic equilibrium on the chart so that we can find the true support and resistance that'll give us support, that'll give us robust signals that'll help us make money, because money is what makes the world go round, and we're going to push it in the right fucking direction. So what we're talking about here is critical hit says there's a potential spring, and he's right in that short-term moves on AMC because of the low low price of the thing, and the double digits leaves it with greater potential on this percentage-wise within its own established range. So, for example, you're now actually, let's consider that question there and do the information, right? It's at $27 at the minute. 28.57 is where it closed. Never going back to reasonable land. Merrick, love you. Justin Gann. Yo, Justin, one of the legendary Justins. I'd give you a hug if I wasn't a million miles away. That's nice. Thanks, mate. Just a nice message. Cheers. Yeah. Luckily, I found Tradespotting early on before I knew about most of those YouTubers. Nice work, Mount St. Funk. Mount St. Funk, let's go there. Tradespotting, I tried to donate, but because I'm poor, my card was declined. Just wanted to like. Borgans Love, thank you so much. You never have to. It's so appreciated you would say that. Thanks so very much for the thought. Being here means a lot. Saying that, even more. And thanks, every second counts. And when you get messages in like that, I know you're not just watching for 18 seconds. And you're probably also hitting the like button. And other people seeing you say things like that also makes them realize that they're in the right place. So thanks so much. It's really appreciated. And cheers, Luke, for chipping in and agreeing. Yeah, exactly. That's a bad mama jama. You got it. Well said, Borgans Love. Nice one. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. And then those nice people, very generous there as well. Thank you. Jamie ruled. That's all. Kieran, thank you. We rule. It's all of us, right? All of us. Happy birthday, 1337 Gaming. Happy freaking birthday. You're a December baby. Nice. And you're there, Sunjo, you freaking legend, mate. Love you, man. Couldn't believe who I am without having met people like you, specifically you, at the time that I did. I love you, man. So you're looking at this D point and you're thinking, this is a piece of shit, that bearish harmonic can fuck off. I suspected when you get there, it would still be a massive decision. And the points that I was putting with the emphasis on risk at this point are still 100% exactly as I were when I defined that D point. Doomslayers, they will remember us. Miffle Mickle Tiffle Giggled. R.I.P. Yeah, love it, mate. They will, if there's still any part of them left alive. Tradespotting, the meme Justin is based on the thought of justice, legendary justice incoming, Doomslayers, love you Jimmy, thanks for everything. Well, the more Justin's, the barrier. A merrier, the barrier. So we're on AMC. We don't know what I've done here exactly, so we'll go back to the daily time frame and talk about things. So there is the potential for disastrous moves, and those do speak to this volatility area here where price action would likely come back to should the whole thing die. That's at 1088. Do I think that's going to happen? Well, I've already said I don't think these levels are going to happen, so it means that that would be very unlikely, wouldn't it? Though if it does die, that's the area, right? You want to know where it is, so that's where it is. If it does do an incredible recovery, you are looking to the X, the previous high in that around 72 to 78. That's those areas, much more realistic things within it, though. This is your potential pennant. I don't think this is a pennant. I think that it's failed that in its most recent move on the daily time frame here. Turn off the drawings and you've slipped out of what would have been an upward sloping diagonal demand line there. I think that's broken what would be the driving trend line with regards to the pennant, and as such I'd say that now the dominant line is this topside downward move, in which case you'd be hoping for continuation and a bounce around these levels and in order. Thanks for everyone holding. I'm not selling until I see more. This is for 2008 and for our future. We got this. Yes, fucking right, Pam. It is for 2008 in our future. It is, and those of us who were around in 2008 know it, and it was us that told everybody that's why we weren't fucking going anywhere, because we'd already been here for more than a decade. This was just the latest fucking sword that we had a chance to take back what was taken from us before we were even in the fight, before we were even born. So you can be some fucking 21-year-old on YouTube. You can talk loudly about 2008. You can act like it made a fucking difference. You can say the reason that you bought AMC was because you met your first girlfriend there. I don't give a fuck. But the reason the people who hold are here now is because they were there in 2008, or their parents were, or their grandparents were, and they know what happened. There's nobody who'll be disenfranchising us. You can't cut everything left out. But we can fucking extinguish these bastards. So what you're looking for then is, if this is the dominant line with regards to price action and what we'll be looking to TA, then you'd be hoping that there would be a parallel diagonal which would then turn into a higher low. At that point, if it is beyond us, like before it gets to a certain retracement, you'll still say this is a bull flag. You'll be looking to the top side and you'll be loving it. You'll be desperately happy at 72, 65, 55 bucks. Thank you, King Schmeh, here for you every fucking day. Yo! Short the VIX. 9 years old in 2008, and you were still about fucking 65 foot tall. How's it going, buddy? Love you, man. A legit, honest person who really knows his shit. Yeah, so you're still very young, obviously. Well, I mean, you're on a path and a long journey to being a very successful chap. So there are a number of people who sit around and talk about how the reason that they do this is because of some story about the feeling they get when they smell popcorn, or how they like having their fond of the sticky carpet memories and that. But the truth is, none of those things. It's a vehicle for change. We couldn't give a fuck what the 3 letters were when we first met them. It's just that they're ours now and we're not fucking going anywhere. Yo. Short VIX, a legend among men. What was I talking about beforehand? Yeah, you're looking for a bull flag, in which case you've got a measured move off this that'll go fucking crazy, right? I'll get insane amounts of abusive messages because those people will be like, who did I take it out on? Oh, that Tradespotting guy, he's a shill. And whatever. But I'll be desperately happy for the people in chat and those people like Short the VIX himself who will have proved those... You know, there's like people like him and others like yourself, mate, who are going to be working in this industry and whatnot for years and are way ahead of the game, and people who've been in it for decades themselves. And so I'll be desperately happy for everybody, even like myself, really, because I've also owned AMC, and then everybody, you know, from the Pam the trader, all the ways down to like the people who got nothing and put like this couple £100 into AMC and don't know what else to do, and I'd be desperately happy for them. But there's no guarantee that'll happen, right? And there's shitloads of risk here, so you got to bear that in mind. Also, I mean, I'm not asking anyone to make the decision about where they want to invest their money. And if you find anybody else asking that question, I think the appropriate answer is to tell them to fuck off and likely headbutt their fucking nose through the back of their head if you get half a chance. But what was the start of that question? I can only remember the fucking... And so, yeah, there is risks and whatnot. This is currently at 28. Its low today was at 26.85 and its high is up at $74, right? So more than 100% increase on price. And just while we're here and we're doing that, we're looking at GME and you can see it's at 181. Its all-time high was at 483. So if they were both to move back to their all-time highs, and people say these two charts trade exactly the same, so let's say they both go back to their all-time highs. Well, you're making far more money on GME, aren't you? I mean, that's obvious. It's a 4x compared to nearly, right? 3 and a bit compared to a 2 and a wee bit, right? So this is the thing, right? That's like in terms of the potential to move to the top side and what that range would mean in terms of a percentage, which will have a direct proportion to the value of your portfolio, is that you've both got huge percentage moves to the top side. And this is something that, like, Short the VIX, if you're still here, like, you retweeted this when I put it out there, and it was the truth is that, like, both of them at that stage were about 50% off their highs. GME is just a tiny wee bit more than AMC at the minute, but they're both, without a large distinction, similarly far off their own highs, right? So regardless of whether one of them goes back to it or doesn't, the people who've got maybe 50 million quid, right? Now there are more people like that than you can imagine. Or the funds that work with hundreds of millions or trillions of dollars, right? Trillions of dollars, right? Easily under management and whatnot, but say any one particular fund or fund of funds might be billions of dollars. They don't give a fuck about the getting the ultimate low. Likely they create the ultimate low when they buy in those institutions. They don't care about that, right? What they care about is when they go back to their all-time highs, what the risk profile looks like then. You know, then they'll start making distinctions between assets. You know, and so this is the thing, right? It's not the tickers that anybody has a problem with. And this is the thing when people argue between GME and AMC, like, I see like people in the chat here, most days will have some friction between the two communities, but nobody who advocates for one actually cares about the other one in a negative way. They don't, eh? So it's absurd that you'd argue about it, because you don't. If you like GME, you don't care, and if you like AMC, you don't care about the other one. That's never what's happening. It's always that those people who command most attention within the communities end up allowing, because of their own concerns, allowing these other toxic things to grow and problems to start showing up. So people have arguments with people who hold GME, who hold AMC. It would never happen with Amazon and Microsoft. It was stupid. And so I was saying that, and Short the VIX retweeted it, and it was one of the most sensible tweets I ever made that got attention. Thanks very much. Really good guy. Doesn't not precious about things and dead nice. I really have to get on his show sometime. He's probably away doing his own one now, or at least soon. So there's your what are we talking about there? We were talking about this thing between, right? So and then it's up to you to decide what the relative probability that these things will go and do crazy moves are, right? So that's like I say, right? Anyone who tells you how to trade, tell them shut up. Like you're that goes for anybody who ever listens to me. You know, like this is the best advice I can give anyone is like, don't listen to other people. They've usually got their own agenda. So we're still on GME here, and we're talking about what's more likely to happen. It's up to you to make your own mind up, right? I know what I think, but it's everybody to make their own mind up. AMC is down 15.82% today. Quite a lot of dramatic percentage. People might be scared. GME is down 8% today. That's also a big difference. But one's nearly twice as much of the daily move to the... Yo, I like him both from all angles. I like both. Hit him from all angles. Shut the Vix. Great lives today. Oh, nice one. Super Mom. Thanks so much, STV. Being audio. Appreciate you, but nice one. See? Nice one. Fucking nice one. Yeah, it's brilliant sharing an audience with people you respect. I love it. And so... whatever, right? You make your own mind up. I know what I believe. You're entitled to make your own mind up too. The question, though, on the downside is perhaps, the strongest survive. That's true in everything in life. The strongest survive, whether you like it or not. Those things don't care, which is another reason why they do so well at surviving. And so, whatever I was talking about there, the universe is indifferent, and the stock market is too. And you should be to other people's opinions about your trading. So, though it's true that the strongest survive, and GME's only dropped 8% in the same period that AMC's dropped 15%, GME has put in higher lows and higher highs. AMC's putting in lower highs and lower lows. It's completely distinct and different in that sense. But should one make a massive move, maybe that drags the other up, right? I could imagine, even if everything everybody believed wasn't true, and that in fact it was all driven by one institution somewhere, and everything about one stock was just their own collateral for the other, then they would also want that stock to go up at the same time, and as such it probably would, right? Anyway, what were we doing? We were doing the AMC TA, and I never really got it, and it's already it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Boom.
They said thank you for
Justin. You're welcome.
My fanny ass acting on emotions sometime and not acting on what I've learned from you and Rocky.
You're super welcome, Justin. Thank you very much. It's appreciated. And thank you very much, Luke, before. Luke, 6969. Fuck yes. Luke, you're such an amazing... Thank you so much for being here. I don't know if I'd be able to... No, it wouldn't have a different stage if it hadn't been for you. You're a fucking legend. I love you so much, Luke. Thanks so much. I can't wait to meet you and give you a pint or clink glasses. Legend. Thanks, Luke. And thanks, Justin. Another Justin for justice. Justin for justice. And $10. Appreciated very much. So we're doing the AMC today. We're talking about on the daily time frame. We did the daily as much as we possibly need to. Turn these drawings back on again. There's this downward sloping line here. It's demand, but likely this will be a bullish accumulation pattern with a huge move if it is a bull flag. It's just that stage you're going beyond certain levels. So you don't want to drop too far down. You don't want to go beyond $20. I don't necessarily expect it to get there itself. There could be levels to bounce before it, and in the short term, definitely not. Dink.
We appreciate all you do and know where the credit goes. Say hi to Buddy.
Buddy. Yeah, I will say hi, Buddy, right now. So this is Buddy. Sal, this is Buddy here. Look, where's the rest of my things gone there? I used to have an activity list. Down there. This is Buddy. He's a little monkey that's recently moved to a new island and is meeting and getting more involved in the wild and meeting other wild monkeys. Got an email about it at the start of, or the end of last week. Sal sponsored Buddy, and got another monkey I sponsored freaking ages ago. What's his name? It's harder to pronounce. He's in a different part of the world. And more of that, the merrier. We love Buddy. He's a freaking brilliant. He was rescued from a bunch of fucking bastards. And there it is. There, look, Dink. There you are. Thanks, Dink. Stay with us, Buddy. I'll stay with you forever, Dink. Stay with all you guys. I love it and appreciate this opportunity and the purpose it's given me in life. It can't be understated. I think it is all so much, right? And the relationships with people in chat, like, I'm totally genuine and desperately appreciate them. Yo, looks decent. What are we talking about? This. Oh, Buddy. Oh, this place. Or Unreasonable Land is quite a nice place. Yeah, Buddy looks quite happy. This is the... so anyway, it looks good when the alerts come up when I'm on that screen. Here it looks terrible because I've got a green screen. It all shows up. So not quite the effect I'm going for. Also, the drawings do look like it's a bit of a mess. Maybe that's what you were saying, look decent. This terrible mess. Loads of different Fibonacci's on here, measuring different moves at different times. Do we need them all at once? Well, we don't need to see everything that's happened since the start of June to make understand what's going on in a daily time frame. It's a downtrend. You likely get some sort of a bounce here. You haven't got the bullish candlestick formations that I'd like to see, nor have you got a horizontal that's desperately important that you could enter on the 382. If you do, you know, that's a reason, right? There's the one reason you're at the 382 at the minute, and it's confluent in this previous low. So there's two reasons why this is likely a bounce area, but we have dropped below it on a wick. So either that's a shakeout and it's a good American style shakeout, and in which case you would expect then to see that bullish divergence on the 15 minutes work its way through, though you might get at least 3 touches of it if you don't get really good terminal candles at this point. Jimmy, I was playing with the games you early this morning and you were still streaming. Damn, you're a beast. Yeah, it was a very early Tadpole Games. I had to make the most of Rocky's birthday and enjoy it with him and all you guys, and make that important day for him for rememberings. So it was not a big sacrifice to be like slightly late for me, and I'm sorry that it was late for everybody else, but thanks everybody for tuning in. I hope Rocky had a blast on his birthday. He did. He was so happy afterwards, Pam, like so happy today as well because of it all. It's what he talks about a lot of the time when he's not streaming or trading, is that his birthday and how well it went since yesterday. He's super happy about it. He still not really understands how different his life is and how genuine the connections with people are. You know, it still seeps in over time. You're like, still, you know, like, you know, you only have so many friends in life and that. And so when it gets like, anyway, you know, it's hard to, the only thing that, yo, Nichiro, freaking legend, Nichiro. The weather's gone bad, so I've got Nichiro's boots on. The only thing that makes battle psychologically tolerable is the brotherhood among soldiers. You need each other to get by. Love you, my friend. Yeah, it's fucking right. It is. And I said it a few times, but to be alone is one thing. To feel alone is double. And sometimes there are fights you have to go through that can make you feel like you're only there. It's only you, no one else. Pardon me for that interruption. I only wanted to do TA on the AMC and GME. Did I get in before? Anyway, geez, I don't know how this is going like this. Thanks so much for everybody. Thank you so much, everybody who supports this channel and me. Thank you so much. And sticking with me through that wee pause, that's appreciated. So, yes, now we're dropping down then to 4-hour time frame. You can see this very strong move between these two areas of resistance on the chart. This obviously being like an important area break above at 32.48. See if you get a 4-hour, right? Because this is like on the hourly can. Is it the hourly? Yeah, we decided that. No, it wasn't. It was on the daily. Yeah, it was on the daily that most of... Where the fuck was it that most of this was wick? It's really around 15. Okay. Still doesn't look like most of it. Oh, well, whatever, right? And in this case, this is an inside bar with the lower close on the... Is it lower or is it higher? Well, it's confluent, but you've managed to close within the midline of the previous candle, so that would suggest continuation, right? It would suggest continuation, though there are other reasons why it could bounce. 15 minutes bullish, topside resistance up around here. Welcome, Frozen Puck. How's things going, Frozen Puck? Out in the swamps. Good old Canadian. An expat. Trading shoe. No, it ain't true. Sure, they seem to be following me in around the community. They're following you. You need to get like a disguise. Crack rock. You need to dress up as some sort of other type of rock. So that'll throw them off the scent. 32.58 above that, 34.86. These are the two levels that are still relevant with regards to this formation. You need to get above that horizontal to say that this downtrend might finish. Let's draw on the Fibonacci's that are now most relevant. I mean, this is what we were talking about before the breakdown. Is this going to... It's the horizontal line. I knew that was going to happen. Get it from up here? Can I? Probably not, right? I can. Take it down. Now we've got this Fibonacci here, and we can see that, yes, that would be breaking above this golden pocket. It would be interesting. I don't necessarily us getting there. There's your 50% line. I can take that as support now to here, despite what it proved interesting when we got there previously, this wick and whatnot, but now That's a more interesting area. This above us, well, that's your 786, the previous moves above this horizontal, and we've already got the golden pocket in here to define this area. So these are the three zones that you'd look to on a positive move should you start putting in bullish candlestick entries in around here. Thank you so much for everybody sending me nice messages all the time. It's got another one there on Twitter, I've noticed. So you've got your golden pocket to break above it, and then you've got your 786 before you can say that this downward trend has changed. You can also say that this was potentially a downward sloping wedge. Now that that's broken, it would turn into a channel, and now the channel's broken, you could see that perhaps these extensions end up being the full move after the backside of it. Like if your demand line was coming in around here, and you had the top side, you had a concurrent parallel line, then you would see well and truly at the bottom of that. Perhaps you'd be looking for like a miniature time frame, some sort of like a bump and run, which would necessitate price action getting from this level, which is already quite extended. You need to get back above the 236 to get inside this channel, and then immediately move to the top side and outside of it, and then retest the top of it or the golden pocket beyond that move, at which point you'd say you had your bump and you had your run, and you'd look to it to go on. Those you'd look to your macro support and resistance above at this level. It would be this high at 86.46 and change, 44 to 44 likely is the resistance at that point, because so much price action happened there. But that's potentially what you're looking for here, though. Stretching it really, you would maybe look for a recovery, a failure, and continuation, then bullish divergence on that. You've already got it strong enough on 15 minutes there, like this was your previous low. When you go to the corresponding area on price action, it was at $33, and then the RSI came in when you made your new low on price action at 27 and change, and it was higher, right? So your momentum has changed, and so the rate of the pace, right, that change, that rate of the pace there, how fast the change itself is happening, that's how you would define momentum. And in order for something to turn around in the price, then the speed at which it's falling will obviously have to slow and then change to the point where the price is, the speed of which it's fallen is non-existent, and the price at which it's rising, while not necessarily significant, would be distinctly different from its own opposite, wouldn't it? So that's what you're looking for in momentum, and why this bullish divergence might be interesting, right? You'd have to build in lots of nuances to make that reliable trading, and I've touched on them various times. Yo, good night, Katie. Love you guys. 9090 Kitty Beast yogurt. Beast eats yogurt. Good on the beast if he's eating the yogurt. It's good for the probiotics, perhaps. I don't know. What kind of yogurts are we talking? I know that if it was a chicken pie yogurt, I can imagine he'd love that. I could eat one of those myself. Right, so macaroni cheese. So looking at this 50% top side of that pattern, you get there and break down, that would be continuation as well. You're really looking for this to make moves that some people would find really exciting because they'd be quite big percentage wise, but in terms of structure, they'd be not necessarily having broken it. So you're looking for 34 and change, 4-hour opening closes. Let's turn on the daily. Let's turn on Bollinger Bands. I didn't really want the Bollinger Bands on. That wasn't what I was looking for. Slap on these, change them because I don't like them. And then hide the drawings and look to the moving averages for trend. And your 200 period moving average on the daily is 36.17. Over the next couple of days, that'll move down to 36.76. Your 50 period's coming in at 33.35. And those are all confluent with the areas above that we were talking about with regards to horizontal support and resistance. So if you combine everything we've talked about so far with momentum, with the horizontal levels below us, with the Fibonacci's, and we put it all together and we talk about likely outcomes, we can say that this trend will continue while you're below the 200 period moving average and also below $34 and change. And when that has changed, perhaps the trend has changed. Boom. Boom. Where are you going, Sanjo? You off ski? People are saying it to you, but I don't see your name. Sanjo quite sounds like something I still play the dentistry industry would say. The dentistry industry. Terrible, isn't it? The dentistry industry. I quite like the dentist, and I also quite like getting injections. Always have. Yeah. Silver squeeze is real, folks. SLV and the comics are bleeding physical. Buy PSLV and SZSIL 10x silver next year. Free like summer. The free like a summer. Oh shit, I was going to look at loads of different TAs. I just start on and didn't get any of them done. Have I done the AMC yet? I'm down to 15 minutes, so I'm going to assume I have. Turned on the moving averages to speak to trend. Hourly, your 50 period is glossed below your 200. That's a death cross there. You'll likely come up and test that. It's currently at 37. It likely does make its way to 36 by the time you get there. AMC probably does go push to 36. 4 hour, you've had that test of the 50 period and 200, potentially getting a golden cross. We talked about this at the time and said it was the worst possible type, where the 50 is actually being crossed down by the 200 itself, because the long-term trend is like now signifying that it's doing worse than the short-term trend, and that's coming from above price action, which pushes negative pressure and has resulted in this move, which we talked about that. We said it at the time. It was why I got abusive messages back then. The daily time frame, there you have that cross that is now itself along many time frames. Well and truly distinct difference here between the 50 and the 200. You don't see that, but you do now see price action below the 200. This is daily time frame. It's closed below it. Do I expect it to open and close below it at 31, 32? That would be a big thing for it to do that. And so you really want price action on AMC tomorrow on the daily time frame to close above $31.50. Otherwise, you'll have had a daily close and open below the 200. If you get a daily open and close, a daily close, open, close, right? That's terrible. You really don't want to see that below a 200 period moving average on the daily time frame. It does speak to lower tests. Doesn't mean that the trend is defeated. Just at that point, there would be questions that being asked, severe, strong questions. So that's the AMC T, and there's all these other ones I never got around to doing. It's my own fault. AHT. Do we not have drawings? Oh, we do. Oh, right. Okay, great. So this was an important line. This would have been great if we could have managed to get above here. This orange line, traffic light type of idea, I guess I was doing here. Not so terrible to come into these areas. The body close on the daily time frame below it. It's annoying. That's shaking people out in the wash. Fundamentals haven't changed. No reason for a new lower low. You've got the gap on daily time frame here, still the lower side of that 1177, top side of it at 1248. They've got this line on the chart. What is that? Let me get it. It'll be a Fibonacci, right? Because why would it? Is there a horizontal here? No. So this will be a Fibonacci. Maybe it's from this move. I have to get on short the VIX show, and I appreciate that guy a lot, and he's always inviting me on there, and he's a super nice dude. Then maybe people were aware of the fact that I like him, right? So you've got this. It's not a Fibonacci extension from there. That would be even further down. That's not what I'm looking for on this move, no. But these smaller ones is what we're talking about here. This previous low up to this high, and you got your 1618 extension down there, so we can move that to it, right? That's more or less where price action went to anyway. Your 2618 is down here. I don't know why this Fibonacci. Why are these horizontal lines here if it wasn't that? So anyway, that's where I'd put that now until I see something else that reminds me why it was that I had it there. Anyway, so do I think it's getting there? No, I think the 1618 is the extension on that move. I'm surprised it got there, really. but it is here, and then I suppose that represents an opportunity. It's just you probably already bought a lot of it, so you don't want to throw money after a trade. 11.27% down today. 9.45 was the close. 9.60 post market, up 1.59%. Suggests that perhaps this looks like a bargain to some people, those people who have deep pockets. Weekly time frame, continuation of this trend, bullish divergence, continuation of the upward line, touching the top of this bearish control zone. That comes in right on time with this progression. No, it doesn't, not right on time, but actually not drawn it properly anyway. So yeah, it's like this is a continuation. Likely if it does hold above the bearish control zone, then you'll bounce up again. If you make it above the 236, then there's various Fibonacci's you could use at this stage. I mean, let's just take it from this high, drop it low there. The 236 on this would be at $11.02. Open and close a 4 hour above there. You'll go to the golden pocket. That's up at 1367. You'll close the gap from before and be pushing up towards this macro support or resistance at 1481. And trying to flip the Fibonacci on its head and go for the 1618 to the top side. Mike Hunt, you're welcome. Mike Hunt, freaking right. Fundamentals are important. Free like a summer. Free like a summer. Fundamentals are important. Fair enough. Fair enough. You know that it's true to say that fundamentals, right? The fundamentals will be speaking to something and saying, right, this is the worst time to buy it. And when the fundamentals say it's the absolute worst time to buy it, it'll be when it's also going to be at its pushing the price to the ultimate low. And if you're a technical analyst instead of a fundamental analyst, you'll look at that low and you'll be able to define it as an opportunity. But somebody who's a fundamental analyst, they won't be able to. They'll have been thinking that that was the right place for the price to get to, and that price is always, this is what a fundamental analyst believes, and somebody who's good at it will fight me to prove this to be true. So if you say fundamental analysis is important, then maybe you also mean this, or maybe you don't understand that this, what the implications of what you're saying is. They would fight me to say that that low is exactly where it should be, and that price is an honest representation of every market participant's feeling with regards to all of the knowledge on this stock being freely available, and that's what it should cost. As a technical analyst, I would look at that and say, here's an opportunity. This is where I make shitloads of money. I'd make that money and I'd laugh at the fundamental analyst like I would, and I've done for 20 odd years, and like did do when I was working at banks right next to them, and then also doing it myself, right? I would call them that, but I'd also have to work within fundamental ratios, right? That's the whole thing. And so, you know, financial modeling. Some people think that financial modeling is exclusive. Like, I don't know. People have the wrong assumptions about things, and I'm sure that's normal. I would have probably had them too. What am I talking about? AHT, we're talking about this support there. Hopefully that's going to be a bounce. We will say that the negative trend has taken one there and not so long ago on the weekly, but you're getting a flash here, volatility flash in the weekly. It hasn't yet gone, so whichever way it goes may come back. Depends where that ends at that time. You've got one currently at 1261. That would be up the top side of that gap. And maybe that's what you're speaking to with this flash, which has just ended. Maybe when you get there on the weekly, this big one here either ends or starts stuttering into giving a signal. 3-day touched below that, but then it wasn't the same line there. It wasn't a formation we were looking at. You are in the bearish control zone there. 2-day time frame, slightly deeper into it, obviously below your own moving average. Trend to the downside, still in charge. Daily time frame, you're near the bottom of it now. Perhaps you expect a bounce from here. The DI minus is up at 40, but that was likely where it will face a retrace down to the 4-hour time frame. RSI at these areas where it does usually bounce at this horizontal at a Fibonacci extension. You've got this negative trend still supported by the ADX and itself moving up to 40. So most recently, while it was here, it did turn around. You would want to see that happen again. It did turn around and DI positive down at historic lows where it usually bounces from. So this may be where you see a test come in at these horizontals on the 4-hour. It might not go lower, but Here it is on the 1 hour. You've got lower low on price action, higher low on the RSI. It's not yet divergent until such times as you can actually look back and say it's a local low, in which point the comparison would be valid. And that means you need to get above $11.02, though. Flashes on the DMI suggest that, and under RO flash suggest that that's going to happen. So down to the hourly, that's cool. 15 minutes. 1176, you've got another flash. You've got a lot of reasons why this will bounce up here. You can see on the RSI on these lower time frames, sometimes you do make it into beyond the bearish control zone. And you've got such strong move on the ADX, but that is what took price action here. As you can see by the RSI, it's also a wedge. It looks like a bounce to me. Probably does come up and test these levels. 1180, higher up at 1309. Maybe that's during this week. That's the AHT. KPLT. 6.87, and potential like this low in around here. Moving to the top side. I mean, you could look at this in different places. Maybe that's a tick. What was it doing with that? See, this is the thing, and I actually draw ticks that are like this in real life. So if I ever do that, it's either half joking or it's not a tick, or I don't know. Anyway, who cares, right? Does it look like a buy? That's the question. That's not what I wanted to do either. You can, excusez-moi, por favor. So, 427, flash on this thing. Currently, extension on the down move. Where do we take this from? This low, your 236, then we'll move that line to it. Oh, there's two of them there. We'll be come back. Hey, you're back. You're back, internet. 10% plus. Reconnection successful. Does that mean I've been off in the meantime? Probably does mean I've been off in the meantime. Chat disconnected. Successfully reconnected. Well, fuck it. I was cut off. I don't know what point it was at. You need to get above the 236. You need to get above this horizontal at 394. You need to get above the golden pocket. And then you'll go on and fill this gap. But you've still got downward sloping lines coming around here. You need to get aiming for the 1618. That's tough. Likely people entered around these areas. If this is why I've got a tick on the chart down here. If that is what that is, in which case not desperately underwater at the minute, bullishly divergent on the most recent lows, bullishly divergent between these two macro lows, downward slope on the DI minus, positive uptrend still in the ADX, if that means to pull up the DI positive with it itself. Doesn't have a positive slope yet, but we'd like to see it. That's all in the 15 minutes. Hourly time frame, lower, higher, positive, but in the bearish control zone. No suggesting this is finished yet. Could push on down to around 350. You would like to see this. Maybe a bit of a hammer. I'd love to see him looping during a rant. Does it loop when it goes like that? So this lower low here again, you've got the bullish divergent on the 4 hour as well. I mean, there's loads of bullish divergence here. The price is grievously incorrect. On this thing, maybe too, there's your first period time frame where you've got a lower low and you've actually got a lower low in the RSI too. It's a daily, and even then, it's massively bullishly divergent compared to the macro low. Though I don't know how you could really all that relevant. You've had this negative trend still in the ascendancy, though you've got a positive move coming. Should it turn up from these low areas, you can see a lot of strength coming back into this thing. So that's interesting. It's just pushing down there. Are these buy areas? Well, there's lots of bullish divergence. It's not made its way to the daily yet. And you've only seen one instance of it really here. I mean, that was lower than its previous low. So this would be the first time that happens. And it could break into this area, touch these lowers. That's like 886. What do you mean that's an 886? This was the prices of this been before, like. All right, I see. Yes, so it's a retrace of the overall formation. The 886 would likely hold 786 is there at 379 at 366 at the minute. So you're below that. Do you push on down? 886 there. This is horizontal at the previous low. So the 886 comes in at around 353. So it's about holding above these levels, and you're at 3. What is that? Post market. It's not giving me one. Okay. It's interesting. She's one. Can remember not to forget the sacrifice. Yes, Banana Freeze, you're right. Sheeps. There you are, Ben. How you doing, mate? Popping in as I kick off my work day to say hello, Fannies. Keep up the good work, She's one. Thank you very much, Ben. Really appreciate it. You're especially appreciated. Thank you so very, very much for the chat earlier. Nathan Alec. Yo, Nathan. Bingity bongdies. Pam the Trader also bing. Look at all those bing the bongs. We're loving the bing bongs. Fucking brilliant. Thank you so much, everybody who supports you channel. These bing bong emojis. Big yellow reward. So we looked a little bit at that. It's bullishly divergent. It's like a higher low. The 886 there would be a good opportunity. May bounce before that. 15 minutes we're seeing bullish divergence. But you're not getting entry candles. No terminal candle. No candlestick pattern that would suggest you enter desperately yet. There's this one, that's not terrible. Let's say that encompasses the wick of the previous candle. This would be bullishly divergent, but then you had a wick lower than it. So nobody trusted that when it was retested. That says what it is. Where are you, Ghost of Wilfric Doomslayer? Starts yapping your Claymore? Is it that time already? We've also got to look at GEVO. God, I better speed up then. GEVO down at 9.39% today. Came down to this lower level of resistance, whatever you want to call it. You're still tracing below 15 minutes. You've been below the 8-period moving average for a while there. 50 below the 200. I want to see all that turn around. There's hourly time frame below that 8-period. Continuation of that downtrend. What is the top side of this thing? Why is there 2 lines there? What is that? Why is there that line? So confused. So this is this is a line. This is a drawing, right? And that 236 is from the previous analysis. Is it? Where is this coming at? $382. Oh, it's a different way. Okay, I'll just do this properly from here on out, right? Start on a daily time frame. Come down, tested this support, 1618 extension, upper sloping diagonal. Aye, that's where that comes through from this previous pennant breakout retest. Okay, excellent. So, excellent. Maybe that's what we were talking about with this drawing here. You had this, people might call it a channel. It certainly was for a while. Wumpum Gammum style. So you had this channel here, which the most interesting demand line within that formation, which is why I've drawn it, was these ones here where price action recovered and bounced through again. You could also then say, well, if that's what's important, maybe you take it back like there and you're looking at a wedge and it's a bullish accumulation pattern, and you break out to the top side of that. You don't break this previous horizontal level here at 837. You come back through these. Will then touch this breakout zone of this formation. And I say that, I mean that upward sloping demand line here, or the downward sloping supply line here, meeting at the same place and the price action joining them there together. That's a retest, and at that point you'd be looking to trend to see where price action was going. There are 200 period moving averages above the 50, which you don't really like to see on the daily time frame, so that's not great. You're below your own 8 period moving average, though there hasn't been a cross desperately recently. 4 hour. Slightly higher low at the minute. See how that goes. You really need this thing to start pushing above 850. Currently at 521, so you need a big move on it. But this is the retest. You'd expect these things. Congratulations. Doing this retest. Let's see how it goes. 1 hour time frame. Why is it so chilly all of a sudden? Corey, thank you.
More than this for making me bullish AF on life. Sign of the horns. Thank you so much, Jamie. Thank you, Rocky, for your kind words to me today. I feel like I and #39 am getting better at trading every single week. Lifestyle trading, here I come. DX cat sign of the horns.
Yeah, man. Keep it up. Keep it up. Love you, buddy. Keep it up, Corey. I'm looking to see how far you get, man. I'll be here for a long time, and I reckon you've got a big future ahead of you, Corey. Big one. You're going to, hopefully, play it safe. Stay in the game. I think you're going to do fucking amazing, my friend. Thanks for that. You're very generous in that. And I know that, put you on the spot or whatever, but, you do a lot with you're very generous, right? You're very generous. Thank you so much. Right, so test these horizontals, come back. I don't know if that's necessarily going to get that low. There's probably a harmonic on there as well, as it happens. Uses a demand line coming in here. Interesting on the hourly. I don't know what time frame we started on this. We've got a flash at 7:38. Yeah, you've got bullish divergence on a macro level, but not on the smaller time frames. Really, not since this most recent high on this thing. Continuation. The trend lost out at that stage and dramatic dip back down. Though if these start to point back up when the TI minus loses it, that would be good. It's swing failure at this point would speak to continuation. Suppose you're looking at there at 495, and if you don't get it, 461. What did these drawings say? Downward test, horizontal log chart, smaller time frames, potentially it's a retest of this area and bounce. Cool. It's also a retest of the upward sloping demand line. Good. It's the 1618 extension. Good. Lots of different reasons why that's a buy. If it doesn't hold, then yeah, like down to this next level. 236 of that previous. Is it? What is that? Yeah, perhaps. Certainly lower than you'd like to see it, but still it's got these flashes on these time frames. 30 minutes, maybe not be all end all. 1 hour, 236 up there at that flash level. Higher lows here. Bad merger down there. Oh, there's a bad merger. Hey, you should have told me. You should have told me. Where's the bad merger? Look, guys, I didn't notice. I did this at the time. Why did I not draw in a line there as well? Just because we found the merger and that was enough, huh? Lower side of the merger, top side of the merger, right? So, Gevo, right? Who's trading Gevo? And have you got an alibi? You come down and filled the gaps. This is fantastic news. Great. So, perhaps there is a degree of continuation. Subsequent, there's another reason to buy this thing at the 1618 properly, 5.14, and you've got upwards, like a downward sloping, but it is a demand line. No, it isn't. What is it? It's a line that I've drawn. That green one. What the fuck? This is my prediction that price will go down here and come back up again, I guess, right? I guess that. So that's not too bad. That one's kind of doing what we maybe expected more so than the others we mentioned there. BMJ and then METX. That's so good to feel. You feel like you're getting better all the time, Corey. So good to hear that. METX. We'll start with an M, right? And then it would have an E. And it would be on my chart already, for God's sake. Buy my pajamas trading it. What are you? Is there? For some reason I'm blind. So, oh look, you're into this. Oh, we've got a potential trade and everything on this one. It's at down 15.44% at 0.2930. These are these lows here. You're looking to beat. This is the stop on this thing. 236. No, it's 618. This is coming from. This Fibonacci is coming from our previous low. Okay, to that high, no bother. Then let's take this one down. Take a cross price action, and we'll edit it so that the labels are on the right. And we have our Fibonacci from this. We can just make it this one on the left. Right, so you're looking between the story of two halves, really. You've come back down, you're below the 86, you've broken it there, that's annoying. Touching this all-time low here, that's positive. What was this? What has that done then out over here? Full body in that, strong down move. Taking it back beyond the 886. Where would you look to then? Well, didn't expect this, but I mean, might as well draw on there because I don't suspect I'll get nasty DMs about this one. Yay. So 1, 2, 3 highs there. These two divergence, so maybe you need multiple touches of divergence. On the downside, you've got one of them here looking left. You can see your RSI isn't as low as it was previously, or if it is, it's only joint there, whereas you're much lower on price action. So potentially a little bit bullish there. Pretty weak though, pretty weak to be looking at that. You know, it really kind of grips and it straws. 4 hour, you're in the bearish control zone and you've got the negative trend in ascendancy. It may turn around here because this is an important level for it, but ADX is with it at the minute and it's not abating yet. Daily time frame, touch the bearish control zone, expect you slip into that. If you don't cover your own average in the center line, fantastic. Again, negative trend in ascendancy, this pushing down at this level in the horizontal. You don't want to hold it if it goes beyond these levels because it could just be a continuation of this thing. 1.8, 1.17, 0.18, 0.15, that could all happen. You don't need to hold that from 2.7 down to those areas. And if you do lose a little bit stopping out and it comes back again, goes on again, then maybe that's the way to trade it. You know, you don't want to hold the risk. The risk to taking like so much off your mind. I don't know. So define those things. 1, 2, 3. Interesting though. This is a steep retrace, and that candle at the back of it on the daily time frame there are not very positive. So tough things for METX recently. If it does manage to hold this, the moves to the top side, get above your 236, cool. Capture your 50 period, cool. Aim to the 200, you know. Yeah, sure, 618 and other areas in there, but this has had good moves before. Is that my drawing, or what is that? No, it's chest. So like this area is where it'll come up and test again at some point. 200 period moving average meeting it there at the minute. So if it's going to happen fast, then maybe it doesn't take too long to initiate. Got a little at the end of the day. Bad my Majama at the end of the day. Got a little bit of this at the end of the day. Whoa, you maybe got a really good one then if it does do a bounce there. Might be nice. Still scary though. You knife catching lunatic, yeah. Interesting. I like it, BMG. UVXY for Corman, this one, I think. Hey, yo, we've already got you on there. Pro shares. Come back. Come back. Pro shares. Trust Ultra VIX short-term futures. Interesting. Right. Interesting. What have we got here? Nice. So, whatever. Oof. This thing. Ding, ding, ding. Inverted head and shoulders. Bad murder. Hi, yeah. It's closed the gap in the bad murder there as well. Well done, Poirot. You've had a fantastic week, Poirot. You already just started and you've sold 2 cold cases off the board. Look at that. What productivity levels from our chief detective. Another flash on this thing up at around $25. Is it going to go there? Well, if volatility continues, that's what's the measurement of, right, isn't it? Yeah. Short-term futures. Ooh, flicking hell, right? Volatility on the short-term futures. Well, even if you just retrace back to levels where the drop came from, that'll and you did it all in one move, that would obviously be like very volatile. And so that would be on a chart that measures volatility continuation, even though prices going back where they came from, that type of thing. Anyway, I was talking about overall market there. And so, but this thing coming in at this level, you know, you could draw this. Oh, well, you could draw it from wherever the fuck you wanted. You did seem to push above it at this point. Wick high. What would I do? I'd take profit. I mean, I would take profit because then the 50 period down here at 1854. Come back to that area and move on again. Not terrible at all. Like, quite likely, in fact. There's a horizontal level above you. It's also at that RO flash there. Likely it does get taken out. I mean, you do this one yourself because it's so obvious the number of touches there. And then there's like 3 on this body close. There's the wick high here. And there's this low of price action beforehand meets it. So I'd use that one. And then I'd say the 200's already below it on the daily time frame, so that's very ambitious. Say your 50 period below your 200, so that speaks to the long-term trend. You're covering the 50, that's good. From that 50, you've tested the 200 and the 179. I'd take profit there. And look to a test of that 50 period. If it doesn't happen, that's cool, because your RSI is pushing into the bullish control zone and above its moving average. If it keeps going up there and you don't put in some sort of divergence, which you already got on lower term time frames, if you do retrace, that would be divergent. So we like to see how that goes. Post-market. Don't have post-market, obviously, right? CB, it's traded where? CBOE, yeah. So you're looking at this retrace, maybe. Maybe, baby. Do a retrace to the top side. Oh, I have to make it so fucking small. I've already got it anyway. Why do it all over here? Why so far over here? Oh, maybe that was... Anyway, whatever, I'm using this one now. From your high, you've got... What am I doing here? I drew this. What is that? I can't use old Fibonacci's. There you go. So much for recycling. Just saying thank you. Well, you're very welcome, Jace. Regarding YouTubers that don't pay you homage, just remember it's lonely when you're at the top of the chain. Sorry to interrupt. It is a top of the... Reach the top and had to stop, and that's what's bothering me. Just saying thank you regarding YouTubers that don't pay you homage. Yeah, I don't want homage. Hey, I'd rather be on like, just like conversational, like open the fucking door and we'll talk about things. But on some levels, I don't my own worst enemy, because like there's legends out there like Short the Vix who I should be making an effort to get on his show. It's just I've been so fucking tired all the time and then busy during the day. But that's the truth. I should be doing more of that myself with the people I respect. And then the rest just falls into line, right? Because the information is better and that proves them all wrong constantly. So, them being not the people I was just mentioning there, other people. I don't want homage, eh? That's like another def. I don't want it from you guys either. We're trying to be friends here. Sunjo, night, Jamie, 99 apes. Sunjo, night, buddy. Sweet dreams. Hope you're doing well. And the family's good. And hopefully see you soon. Hopefully see you soon, man. Freaking hell, eh? Yes, blue headband for me. Yes, Worthy. Fucking legend. Yes, Worthy. That's the most ADHD charting app I've ever seen. Lol. Spanish John. It says yourself, Jose. Tis yourself, Jose. How are you doing? I'm not sure what part of the video you're watching, but I've got a number of strange charts I have looked at. Jimmy, I have a significant holding in LRCX. Do you have a look at where the top is? I could definitely look for you, my friend. See, it's got Sunjo. Right, so the 236, you're looking to get this. It's a very big ask at the minute. It's touched into the bullish control zone just down here. Let's see, continuation at this stage. I would expect some sort of retrace before that happens. If you were to put, I mean, this is a dead obvious channel, right? I mean, like when I was drawing it, I was saying you could start anywhere with that one. Let's delete it. Let's delete it. You broke through this high, you came back, retested it. I mean, in which case you could probably even draw it something like that. Yeah, which seems to make a lot more sense. Failed channels become wedges. This was a channel until it failed. And the bullish accumulation from the bottom of that, you're not really looking for a huge measured move. Mind you, that percentage when it was up here to down there is a lot. Boom. You see, this is the magic of a logarithmic chart. And the measured move from within this thing, like we're going back to 2020, you know when, and saying that period of volatility, the move between these two areas, that was the same percentage between 1379 down to 476. Same percent. How can that possibly be? Right, have I done that line right? Anyway, I don't know what's going on with that one. Logarithmic. Take up here. Yep, it is the right line. Oh my goodness, look at it sometimes. When you get it in the wrong place, it really loves going for it, doesn't it? Right, and like, let's take it from this. Oh, God, right, just get out of the way, right? I don't care about a measured move from a year and a half ago anyway. So really what you're looking for is this thing to continue above these 236 at 42.15. Is that what it is? 42.15, currently 22.76. So another 100% on what you're at the minute, plus through 3 important horizontals, and you're currently touching the 200 period. Doing that all in one 4-hour candle from you did it on a wick, and then you've done it again on the 4-hour candle from having breaking above the 50, having put in is obviously currently divergent bearishly, but you've got a really strong positive trend taking over on DMI, and it persisting above the 40 as the ADX starts to pick up. So let's say that reaching a new peak, that would take it into above the 40 levels and whatnot. You'd need it to be stronger than it was. These areas on price action, they were all just continuation after these failures on the RSI, and continuation every single time, right? So you want to see something different happening now. What would be distinctly different? Well, it's never broken above the 200 period moving average yet. If you can open and close and then open above there again, fantastic. Close, open, close, open, close. Then subsequent open will be anyway, and it could be very positive. So you really want to see this recover above the 200 period moving average, 4-hour time frame. On the 1 hour, it's done it already. 50 itself has crossed through that 200. You've put in divergence again, but you'd expect to see that as part of a trend change. It's actually continuation of this pattern on the RSI itself. Perhaps a wedge that speaks to a retrace when it makes to higher levels. And maybe those are quite a big chunk up from where it is at the minute. And you've got a positive sign on the 1 hour on your DMI, which is in strong levels. So there's the distinction now, as the 4 hour has started to put in good moves, but can they persist? 1 hour says potentially, it's still happening at the minute. Nothing to say it's finished. 30 minutes says not actually divergent there. Perhaps the moves continue. You're above the 40 line, and that's not divergent either yet. Let's see this push up. If tomorrow is a good open, great. It'll likely go to 30.85, and it's at 22.76. That's quite a lot, and that could be retracements on things that bring it there without it being volatility measurement. So that is that one. Whoa! And we're going to look at LRCX because the guy is going to be holding an I am tired. It is now 1:45 in the morning. LRCX. Yup. Gotcha, buddy. Can't escape from me. Everywhere LRCX went, you could see its little lamb behind. Hey. And there it is. There you go. There's your bear behind. Boom. That was a shocker on RSI. Smacked you there. Positive accumulation above the bearish control zone at that most recent low. 50 period goes through the 200. At that point, you retest the center line RSI. Great golden cross. Good move. It seems to be divergent when the next high tricks people. Also trend change. It wasn't divergent. Held the center line again. Rolling, remove an average into the bullish control zone. DMI says game over for the shorts there. Come back up, test the previous high and break it as you would. 50 period catch as you go on again. Starting putting in a degree of weakness in the trend since then. Momentum not with the same pace. Doesn't have to increase on the RSI as it does on the price, though. You do have lower highs within moves, but then they continue. Now a test of the DMI. Since this low, you haven't had a cross. Although since there, you had your most positive cross on DMI was when prices put in this most recent low, and that themselves is 30 minutes. Fuck off, 30 minutes. 1 hour, 50 period moving average. Golden cross. Do you come back and test these levels in at around 613? That would be what I think would be like, not what that's going to do right now. I'm certainly not saying that. Jeez, I'm saying there's an important level for it. Looking left. See, this is obviously important. Now you're above it. And if we take this, is it anything on its own? Nah, it's here. Right, so these are the horizontals I'd look to in a minute, based on the previous price action. It's hard to define this as a local low until you've got some sort of 236 to draw on it. It's nowhere near it yet. So it comes in at 667.8. What happens if I look left? You got other levels there. Yeah, you do. So that's worth drawing on. Now you're above it, right? It just is. 3-day, do you got anything else I can see here? Nah, this is it. Highs, you got a significant position in it. Okay. Positive move there. Doesn't look to be rolling over when it puts in that move into the bullish control zone above its own moving average. Bullishly divergent at its most recent low with higher lows on price action. Positive cross on DMI supported by the ADX. That's a good move. That's what took you here though. The 2-day extended continuation above the 8 period keeps going on. Turn on the Bollinger Bands. You're tracing outside the top side yet? No, still stuck within the top one. Continuation likely though. This is now... Ooh, no. Doji candle 2-day time frame there. Did it open and close above the Bollinger Band? Not quite then. I'd expect to test the center line. This lower of these two horizontals at the minute, that would take you below the 236. So if you didn't hold then, maybe you would go further on down to 382. That I've not got much interest in, you'll know, other than measuring the strength of moves at the time. If they do bounce there, and I use it, of course, but I don't use it for thinking about areas of congestion, more in terms of when we get there, what's the velocity of that trend. Anyway, explain all that more when I'm not about to fall off my chair. Right, so holding the on-moving average there, that's good on the RSI and in the bullish control zone and breaking these previous all-time highs. Maybe that's what you'd like to see. Maybe you'd want to think some sort of a retest, but this formation itself doesn't come with a pennant to define it as a bull flag, and in which case then you start saying it's potentially a wedge. Maybe, in which case... first touch at the bottom, the first touch at the top side, it would probably have to take this one. We break out of that, say you break out of that at this line where you are at the minute, takes you to the top horizontal, takes you to the second one. These two areas look likely areas for price action if you can't maintain within the bullish control zone on RSI, though you might well do that because the strength of trend seems quite good on the 2-day there. It's just the doji candle a little bit worrying, that being at what would be, I mean, this is not really, now we're on this time frame, you can see that that's not really real, whereas that might be, and the wick and body close within it also gives credence to this, and perhaps then in that sense it's still even really a channel, but you haven't seen enough touches to the bottom of it, and it might well be something like that, in which case you're just looking at these areas within the channel on daily time frame with the end of this week, come back and test the 668, 666 level, at which point you would have to pay attention to where your RSI was. If that was still in the bullish control zone, fantastic. If it's above the center line, that's quite positive. You haven't managed to put in any real you will have though if you don't try a wee bit here on the RSI, put in a touch of divergence on the daily time frame. But that's the 236 here, so you couldn't really define it as a high. So interesting, this thing has got a lot of potential. I mean, it's done most of its potential from 536. 711. We can't really say it's done most of it. I mean, let's check it out actually. A weekly time frame. It's been a relentless uptrend, hasn't it? Well done. It all works. Yes. Thanks for that tip, Dane through. Woo. Bruley, did you ask me something that I didn't do? Sugar, was that a conversation you two were having? And really, I'm tired now. Right. So, LRCX. Continuation. Maybe it's fine. Weekly, daily, 3-day, continuation, 2-day, continuation, 1-day. Positive, but divergence potentially. Lower term time frames. Just divergence. 4 hour, yes. Potential doesn't work at the top of a trend. Measure moves, feels like get back to the bearish control zone and then some. I mean, ironically, the lower you go in the time frames, the less crazy it seems that you could make a big move. Aye, so like people would be like, hey, Right, anyway, whatever people are like, people can right. 50 period moving averages crossing above the 200 and the 400. There's likely some sort of test of this area, right? That's like this horizontal then at 613 becomes relevant. If you do break below the 236, then maybe you're looking down to as far as the golden pocket. Maybe it's not quite that deep. Maybe it is just this 50% retracement that takes you in at around 620, 600 something of those levels. And having been up 2% today isn't all that crazy. Having put in these candles here, what does that look like? Well, body close encompasses the previous one, so see how the opening range goes. 8 period moving average there, 50 sitting at the bottom side of this. It seems to stick on to me that it'll come back to 666, spot 66. After that, you're thinking, does it test the 50 period and the 200 for the cross on the 4 hour? It doesn't have to, but if it was a tradable event, it would, and then it would be great. Top bottom Bollinger Band on the daily time frame, meeting these two important moving averages soon. You're tracing upside the top side of one. Your basis line in the Bollinger Bands is this one, right? Aye. Sorry, I just have to make it more distinct from the others. That's not going to help. That'll do. Donkey. So yeah, the basis line there. This thing goes 634, 615. Is that 633? 633. If it doesn't stop here at 658, 633, do I think that's a big terrible move? This is like doing well. It's been doing well like for a long time. Obviously, this is a weekly, not necessarily bearish formation, just continuation. It suggests. And you're doing well on that to be pushing towards the top side of the bullish control zone for the first time since 21st of May. So good. I'd like to see that. A bit more strength. Continuation. You're above your previous high at that time. So that's good. You're not actually above it on the RSI, but the look back period down weekly time frame, you can't really go back to just April and that June high wick. Though you could maybe take these areas. In which case, you're not divergent. So, not bad. LRCX. I'm exhausted, folks. Got to run till tomorrow. Sleep well, Doomslayers. Remember, Gemma, get some rest. Boom, boom, boom. Yes, everybody get some rest. Everybody do well. Everybody do well. And I was going to ask if Wolfric is here. Is Wolfric here? Are you here, my Lord Wolfric? My Lord Wolfric. What does that mean? Google have got the Christmas lights on their logo. Because it's the first day of Christmas. Tradespotting gave to me some really good technical analysis and maybe a rant or two, I can't remember. Everyone died. Haha, that's the end of the story. Maybe night. Mighty night, don't let the bedbugs bite. Yeah, all right, thank you very much, Deborah. Ugh, bedbugs. Hey. Was I not supposed to be doing something else? I was going to ask if Wolfric was here to chop off a bruised head, but I'm absolutely exhausted, so we're going to have to chop your head off tomorrow. And I think Wolfric might have been exhausted himself because I've been keeping him up all night watching videos and messing with his routine. Thanks for sticking with me, Wolfric. You are a hero. Coco will destroy those bedbugs. Yeah, frickin' right. That would be good. Coco would be... There are no bedbugs, so don't need to worry about that. Jeez. Right, Jamie, get yourself on. So, I mean... Usually I would end these videos by going in, and doing that's interesting, that hitting the 50 period there on the weekly. That's interesting there. AMC, hard to argue against buying these things, isn't it? Even at the best of times, even at the worst of times, especially at the worst of times, right? It usually turns out to be the best fucking time to buy the thing. And I hope I haven't upset anybody with what I've said. I never mean to upset anybody, unless it's those people who themselves need a little bit of upsetting, and generally I hope to comfort everybody who deserves it. Tradespotting, sorry I'm late. Did I miss the market crash? Did you? No real crash, just things going to the lines we drew, because the lines themselves are magnetic. Secret I've got here on the charts. And it's come from the future, obviously. Warriors, Ronaldo is playing on his channel right now if you want to keep the chats rolling. Oh yeah, great place to go after this, and this place ending, especially when we know the Ronaldo is on. Hero a day he is. Absolutely lovely. Sound of the summer, the winter, the summer, the winter, and the summer again, if that's how long it takes. Ronaldo Moreno, if you haven't seen him, Check out Ronaldo Moreno's channel. You don't have to like me. If you like any of this technical analysis enough to tune in to every so often you ever find yourself watching this video, live or otherwise, check out Ronaldo Moreno, R-E-Y, Ronaldo Moreno, on YouTube and subscribe to him. He's so good. Can you talk about the possibility of molest Tony Lou? It's very, very possible. Yes, Tony, it's very possible. We have to sweep. You don't get bug bugs if you don't have a bed. Yeah, although I have seen pictures on the internet coming out of walls and stuff like. Anyway, stop, Jamie. Is this what the moon smells like? The moon smells a little bit like cheese. I hope you bring your crackers. We've been schooling everybody in the Tadpole games to make sure of it. So we got that covered. We got everything else covered, and then we were only left. There's my checklist. Okay, two things to talk about. Well, the important one was the course. Right, need to hear Caledonia cover 50 times a day or I'm not happy. Yeah, fucking right. I love that song. So the important thing was the course, right? So the description's there, and like maybe it feels like I am pushing it a lot this week. It was because it starts on Friday, and like, you know, I've literally never had a course or talked about it, and I've done these streams every day for months and months and months and months and months and months and months, and I could have stuck some shitty course in the bottom and rip people off from ages ago, but it took us this long to understand how it would best suit people, all the information in our heads, and then it took ages to put it into the best. Anyway, fuck it, right? It starts on Friday, so the link's in the description, and then yes, and then the other thing was about Rocky's show tomorrow. You better tune into Rocky's show tomorrow because he's got a very special news to tell everybody. But I'm going to break it all now. I'm going to tell everybody now. Yes.